welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, guys. So what I have for you guys today is going to be another episode of the Championship Transfer Rumour Roundup, and as we only have a few days left now of the transfer window, things are really starting to heat up in the Championship, especially when it comes to transfer rumours. So in this video here today we have some mad transfers which are currently flying around the Championship. So if you guys do go on and enjoy the video, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. And as well as that, if you've not already subscribed, make sure you do so, as we are very close to hitting 7,000 subscribers, which is absolutely mental considering we only hit like 5,000 a few weeks ago. But enough of that, guys, let's get into some completed transfers. So as I don't want this video to drag on for too long, I'm just going to go over some of the bigger completed transfers which have gone on in the last few days. So the first of which was Robert Snodgrass. He has completed a loan deal to Aston Villa for the rest of the season, and I mean, Aston Villa this season now, they have no excuses, at least not to be making the top six. That has to be the least of their priorities this season, to make into the top six, you know, with some of the players they've got going forward now. Added to that with Robert Snodgrass, Steve Bruce has no mistakes to make now. Reading also completed the transfer of Dave Edwards. He's of course arriving from Wolves, and this one I can see why it happened. I can see why Wolves decided to move him on. You know, it's a club now going in a different direction, and I think he was actually at the club for around about 9 years, so he was a good servant for the club, being there for a long time. But with the club going in a different direction, I think he could suit the way Reading play, and for both parties it's probably a good move. Another player departing from Wolves has been Andy Lonergan, the goalkeeper of course, and he has actually moved back to Leeds United. Of course, he did want to play there, and in terms of this transfer, I can't see Lonergan being Leeds' #1 this season. Of course, with Robert Green moving on to Huddersfield Town, I'd imagine that Andy Lonergan will just come in and sit on the bench for them, really. I can't see him forcing his way really into this Leeds side, but as a #2, it's an alright option, I suppose. Bristol City have completed the loan move of Jonathan Lecco. He's arriving from West Brom, and quite an exciting player actually. From what I've been able to see of him, he is quite a flair player, quite pacey on the ball, and could actually do some damage in the Championship. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can actually do. Bristol City do have a history of, you know, bringing in some decent loan players from the Premier League, so Jonathan Lecco could be another one to follow in that mould. And Birmingham have completed the loan signing of Jeremy Boger. He's arriving from Chelsea, another Chelsea loanee going out on loan. Not too surprising with this one, but in terms of Boger, he's actually very highly rated from the clubs who have had him so far in his career, and in the Championship, similar to Lecco actually, quite a flair player, very good on the ball I'm led to believe, and so he could do some damage for Birmingham this year. So there were some of the completed transfers which have taken place in the last few days. Like I said, I'm not going to go over every single one because I really want to get into some transfer rumours today, and we have a lot to talk over. So our first transfer rumour to go ahead and talk over, unfortunately for me, is a player being linked away from Preston, not to Preston, and that is Jordan Hugill. Now literally, as I'm just recording this video, apparently he has just handed in a transfer request at Preston North End. Now there's quite a few journalists on Twitter saying that this is fact. I'm not sure if it's 100% been confirmed yet, but it does look to be the case. Now at this point in time, we actually rejected the bid a couple days ago from Reading for around about £8 million. So I believe for Preston to sell, it would take, I'm guessing, probably about 10 million. So at the moment, Reading probably would be the front runners in getting Jordan Hugill. However, the other teams currently interested are Wolves, Leeds and Sunderland as well joining the list, although I don't really think Sunderland would have the funds to afford him. In terms of the player Jordan Hugill is, I would be devastated to go ahead and lose him. The type of player he is, he's a very rare breed nowadays. The mix of physical attributes don't come around very often these days. You know, he's very big, a great target man, very strong, very pacey and very powerful as well, and got a great shot on him. He is a little bit inconsistent and probably isn't the final product yet, but overall I would be gutted to lose him, and where he'll end up, I'm not so sure, but a transfer request. Preston fans, what do you think of this? Down below. Another Preston player being linked away from the club at that point in time is actually Ben Pearson. He's also been linked with a move to Reading. Reading need to just stop being linked with our players at the moment, but in terms of this transfer, I can't see this one happening at all, really. I think that Ben Pearson is by far Preston's most valuable asset in my opinion. He's still incredibly young, and without Ben Pearson in this Preston side, we completely fall apart. We've already seen that this season. Our only defeat of this season has come at the hands of Derby County, and that was a game Ben Pearson was suspended for. So he's still contracted as well until I believe 2020, so this transfer I can't see happening at all. One transfer that I could see happening, however, is JOTA, another player who has been linked away from Brentford really through pretty much the majority of the transfer window, and he is now heavily being linked with a move to both Fulham and Middlesbrough being interested. Now, this is one that really just won't go away, and Brentford could actually face a pretty disastrous end to this transfer market actually, as two of their big players are being linked away from the club at the moment, as we'll discuss in a minute. But in terms of JOTA, obviously a massive talent in the Championship, and wherever he does end up this season, they'll be blessed to have him really. And it does seem to be Fulham at this point in time who are the front runners for JOTA. I believe it would take a fee of around about 8.5 million to tempt him away from Brentford and to get them to actually sell. But with Fulham being linked with some other players as well, could Fulham fans see this one happening? And Brentford fans, what would you think if JOTA was to leave? Another player being linked to Fulham at this point in time is Fernando Forestieri. So here's the question that I'm going to pose to Fulham fans. Who would you rather see your club sign? Would you rather sign JOTA or Forestieri? Let me know down below. Out of the two options, Forestieri would be the more expensive option, as I believe it would take a fee in and around about 15 million to tempt Sheffield Wednesday to sell the player. And Wednesday fans as well, would you like to see Forestieri leave the club? Obviously causes a bit of trouble, but on his day he is unplayable in the Championship. I mean, no doubt about that. And a Forestieri in this Fulham side I think could do some serious damage. With the attacking intent that Fulham go into every game with, Forestieri would be on another level in my opinion. Birmingham are being linked with another winger at this point in time. That is Ryan Kent. He has actually been linked with quite a few Championship clubs on loan this season, and Birmingham are the next one who is currently interested in the Liverpool winger. Of course, last season he was on loan at Barnsley, had a fantastic loan spell there, so it's no surprise that quite a few other Championship clubs are sniffing around the player. But Liverpool are yet to decide what they want to do with the winger, whether he's going to get any first team action at Liverpool this season, and if he's not, it would make sense to loan him out. And now we have even more strikers to go ahead and talk about. The next one on the list is Nelson Oliveira, currently being linked with a move to both Reading and Wolves. Nelson Oliveira, a very big player in the Championship, no doubt about that. Norwich cannot afford to lose this guy, in my opinion, you know. We all saw what happened last week with Norwich getting absolutely hammered 4-0 by Millwall, and they're in a bit of a transitional period at this point in time, but for Norwich to have a decent season, it is pivotal, in my opinion, that they keep hold of their big players like Nelson Oliveira. But with both Reading and Wolves being interested, it may be tough to keep hold of their star man. Last season he did get 11 goals, but given the right service, I'm in no doubt that he could probably get around about 20 goals, so that's why I can see the links to Reading and Wolves making sense. Jaap Stan's been a fan of the striker for a long time now, and in terms of Wolves, he'd fit into the way they play, and they're definitely in need of a striker. Another player Reading have been linked to recently was Nahki Wells, the currently Huddersfield striker, another player which would suit the mould really for Reading, a very pacey player going forward, and it's no surprise they're being linked with quite a few strikers. In his past 2 seasons in the Championship, he's managed to bag 27 goals, so obviously got goals in him. Jackson Irvine has been heavily linked with a move to Hull City, and overall this will be a fantastic deal for Hull in my opinion. Last season, in a pretty struggling Burton Albion side, he was their shining light really, managing to score 10 goals from midfield, and goal scoring midfielders are quite hard to come by in my opinion, so if Hull do manage to get this deal over the line, they'll have done quite well in my opinion. Wolves are being linked with a lot of strikers at the moment, but another one they've been linked to is of course Jordan Rhodes, and as well as that, Sunderland have reportedly joined the chase for the Sheffield Wednesday striker, and Jordan Rhodes, in my opinion, things haven't really worked out with him so far, have they, at Sheffield Wednesday. Been a bit of a disappointment, I'm not going to lie about that, but considering his previous strike rates with Huddersfield and Blackburn in the Championship, he's not really been able to deliver at Wednesday so far. Whether that's because of the, you know, the way Sheffield Wednesday play and it's not suited to Jordan Rhodes, or is it because he's lost a little bit of his touch? Let me know down below, but both Sunderland and Wolves currently interested. Then for our next transfer rumour we do go, we then have Dwight Gale, a massive player obviously last season in the Championship, managing to score 23 goals. He's currently being linked with a move to both Leeds, Derby and Wolves. So what a signing Dwight Gale would be for any of them in the Championship. I mean, Wolves and Leeds obviously desperately looking at strikers at this point in time. In terms of Leeds, I can't really see this one happening. I think they're more interested in players like Lasogga, who we mentioned in the last video. They still seem to be interested in that sort of player. Wolves, however, Dwight Gale, what a player he would be for them. He could really be the final piece of the puzzle, which they're currently lacking at this point in time. Harley Dean is being linked with the move away from Brentford. Of course, we've already mentioned JOTA in this video, a big player for Brentford, and Harley Dean, another one, currently being linked away from the club, obviously. He's only got 1 year left on his contract. Birmingham and Forest are the two clubs currently interested in him, and he'd be a fantastic player for either. Norwich are being linked with a move for defender Grant Hanley at this point in time, a move which definitely makes sense now after their demolishing at the hands of Millwall last week, shipping 4 goals. It's no surprise that they're being linked to defenders, and Grant Hanley seems to have fallen out of favour at the moment with Newcastle, so this one would make sense for him to go to Norwich. Whether they're willing to spend as much as it's probably going to cost them, I'm not so sure. Sheffield Wednesday look to be very close to completing a deal for Joost van Aken, currently playing in the Eredivisie, the Dutch defender. The fee we're talking about probably would be around about £3 million, and I mean, this is a position which Wednesday have needed to address for quite a long time now. Hull City are being heavily linked with a move for Nuadika. Reportedly, he's actually having his medical today at Hull City. In terms of Hull, they need pace going forward, in my opinion, so Nuadika, it would make sense. And then our final Championship transfer rumour to go ahead and talk over is that of Sone Aluko. He's currently being linked with a move to Reading at this point in time. Now, we've talked about Fulham being linked with a lot of attacking talent at this point in time. Last season, I thought Aluko was excellent for Fulham. He only managed to score 5 goals, but even so, he was still very much involved in a lot of the goals that Fulham did score in the end. So, Aluko at Reading would be a decent deal. So, there you guys have it. That will wrap it up for this episode of the Championship Transfer Rumour Roundup. So, if you guys have enjoyed the video, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you do subscribe for regular Championship content and leave a comment in the comments down below as to what you thought of all these recent rumours. But apart from that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.